Are you ready to learn to get rid of stress in your life? To learn how to deal with the emotional turmoil that causes strokes, heart attacks, bad health, and even weight gain? Life-changing habits for work, family, and everyone you deal with start here with Andrew Wittman. It's time to get warrior tough. Here's Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman.
All right, it's time to get warrior tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. We are leadership and mental toughness coaches Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman. What's up, Dutch?
What's happening, Andrew?
Ha! We're live, baby, and we're going international. So, hey, if you guys want to join us on air live, use the call-in number 855-856-1380. That's 855-856-1380. Or join the conversation on Twitter. Use the hashtag GetWarriorTough. And you can find Dutch at The Dutch Coleman, and I'm at WarriorToughPhD. Also, go to the website, getwarriortough.com. Register to get our free ebook, The Elusive Secret of Peak Performers. Hey, and Dutch, right now, did you know we're running a contest?
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah, man, because what we're doing is running a contest. Right now, you could win a free audio book copy of the new book, Ground Zero Leadership, CEO of You, from Get Warrior Tough Media. And to enter, just go to the Awful Boss section of the website and give us your worst or best awful boss story. We all have an awful boss story. I've got an awful boss story. In fact, if you've got a great awful boss story, call us in and tell us about it. Dutch, do you have an awful boss story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Terrible, awful,
Okay,
horrible.
so now hang on to it, because now here's the deal. Dutch has a crazy awful boss story. I mean, his story is so crazy about his awful boss. The stress is through the roof. This is a story that'd be hard to be beat. I told him if we get a good enough story from you all that we might be able to get him to tell his. But he said he was going to hang on to it till he found a good enough story. So, Dutch, hold on to your story, man.
Amen.
Okay. All right. So, listen, we're welcoming in a whole new audience tonight. So a lot of folks, they never even heard us before. Also, I want to shout out to my Aussie mates and Aussie fans down in Australia. It is lunchtime tomorrow, so enjoy your chow. Get re-energized for the rest of the business day with us. And but for everybody else, if you're brand new to Get Warrior Tough to the show, I've got to ask you guys a question. So here's the question, right? Are you living the life of the person you want to be? Have you ever been under pressure or stressed out? Have you ever hesitated making a hard decision? Have you ever experienced a fight or flight moment? Ever worry or have doubts when coping with a major change, or simply just trying to make budget? You know, how about the stress and the weight that comes from trying to juggle work, finances, family, maintaining balance? What a constant struggle. And man, Dutch and I, we understand that struggle. We have that struggle. Most high performers do. But that's where Get Warrior Tough comes in, right? But I'll tell you know what, Dutch? When folks hear the term Warrior Tough, what usually pops into their head, man?
Fear, fighting, some sort of intimidating picture comes in their mind.
Yeah, like a 10K mutter run or something, right? Or some Spec Ops zombie survivor camp, right? I mean, you know, that's what people are like, what are you guys? That is not what this is, okay? Those are tough things, guaranteed. They're tough, okay? No question about it. But those things are more about pushing yourself past your physical limits. Get Warrior Tough is about mental toughness, a hybrid of critical thinking and emotional intelligence. This show is about giving you practical insights on leadership, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, effective communication, performance discipline, and my favorite, mindset mastery. It's all about taking control of your thoughts, your feelings, your fears, and your attitudes, especially under pressure. Being Warrior Tough is about being disciplined in how we think our thoughts and, yes, deploy our emotions to drive past worries, doubts, and fears. It is about taking complete control of ourselves, our reactions, and our thinking. You know, what we do is we train folks to think like a sniper. And that's really, I mean, in a nutshell, that's what this show is about, giving you the same tools that a sniper or a professional athlete, those same tools and techniques that they use, the mindset that they have to perform under pressure. And Dutch, now listen, you're an athlete. You played at the collegiate level, and I know you're old like me now, and so it's a while if you can remember that. But give us a little bit about your background so folks kind of have a jumping off point, you know, with you, and then I'll give them a little bit about me, and then we'll hit the ground running.
Just a little bit about myself. Most people know me from my days at Clemson University. Graduated in the College of Engineering. I went on to get my master's at Penn State in higher education, counseling and administration. And you know, I get talked about, or my past gets talked about a lot. My background is known because of athletics. But my biggest influence and my biggest impact and my biggest wish in life is to continue educating people on the topics we're going to be discussing over the next years of our lives, including effective communication, emotional intelligence. I mean, those are words that dominate my life. So if you know me, you know I consider myself a critical thinker. And anytime you have a conversation with me, you'll kind of grasp that from what I say, but not exactly what I say, but how I say it and how I come up with it. So you'll hear Andrew and myself making jokes about getting old and stuff like that. But you know what makes me hot? The process remains the same. So no matter how old we get and I do everything based off a sound process. So I depend on the process. And you'll learn more about that as we move along. So I can still ball. I can still do it with the best of them because it's about the process. So if you see me in the streets playing basketball, playing football, doing whatever, the alumni football game we play in every year, and you say, why is that guy so good? Because it's about the process, baby. And you'll hear more about that as we continue on.
Yeah, the process. I'm a process guy, man. And in fact, one of our folks tweeted out a quote that I said in our Phalanx coaching call. I said, consistent process, being committed to a consistent process is more important than being having consistent results, and that's the absolute truth. So it's all about the process. All right, so a little bit about me, man. And folks, you guys you'll get the hang of this. That our language is a little different, and we'll try to get you up to speed because words don't mean the same thing inside this Get Warrior Tough culture as they do out in the civilian world. So if you have a question about it, we'll just let us know and ask us. Okay, so I was a missionary's kid, brought up in Australia. I was the fat kid in high school. I got bullied, and I knew I was never allowed to fight back, so I knew I needed what I couldn't go through life like that, man. I couldn't be in fear all the time, so I knew I needed what the Marine Corps had to offer. So I joined the United States Marine Corps right out of high school. I lost 50 pounds in boot camp, and they just gave me an infusion of mental toughness, just an infusion of, to stop being a baby, right, and being a crybaby and being bullied and being in fear, and taught me how to get control of my emotions. And so I just took that and ran with that. And so I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps Infantry, was privileged to lead troops in combat in Desert Storm and also in Panama. Then went into law enforcement, and I was a sheriff's deputy here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I know we're the show's out of New York, but I'm in South Carolina. Dutch is in State College, Pennsylvania, just so you know. We're kind of spread out all over. A sheriff's deputy in Spartanburg County, South Carolina. Then I went federal, and I was a federal agent for 6 years. Where my great claim to fame as a federal agent, I was the agent in charge of Nancy Pelosi's detail, and I personally protected Joe Lieberman, Hillary Clinton, some heads of state, some Fortune 20 CEOs, and Sir Elton John. But please don't call in and ask about those stories. I've signed a no disclosure agreement. We cannot talk about them publicly, so don't ask. Okay, so... And then when I left that, man, I went to the State Department as a contractor and a consultant. I was training former SEALs, Marines, Rangers, and SF guys for high threat diplomatic security missions, and we ran missions in Afghanistan, the Middle East, Kosovo, and all that. And I just got tired of getting shot at for a living, so I decided to come home and teach this stuff to corporate, right? So in 2013, I came home. We started doing this, and then Dutch, you and I partnered up, and we have another partner, Amber, and another partner, my wife, Kim, and this thing is starting to rock and roll. And so that's kind of where we're coming from. All right, so hey, Dutch, we have a caller on line 1, and it looks like it's a South Carolina number. So AJ, we'll go ahead and take that call, man. Caller, you are on the air with Dutch and Andrew. Get Warrior Tough. All right. We're working on it. Hey, I love this technology, man. Okay, so I'm in South Carolina. The call is going up to New York and then coming back down to South Carolina, which we're going to play. Okay, so we must have dropped the call. There was no answer. Okay, so call back. If you called in, call back.
All right. I do want to make a comment about your illustrious background.
My illustrious background.
Just made my life as an engineer seem so boring. But I guess it's a trade-off. I didn't have to dodge any bullets, but I forgot to mention a lot of people that are probably listening tonight know me from my sports talk background as well, being on WCCP down in South Carolina, in Clemson, South Carolina, and runner-up to national champions this year, college football. Anyway.
Yay, Tigers.
Yes.
Well, you were not okay. You didn't dodge bullets, but you were dodging like linebackers and safeties and stuff because you were running back for Clemson Tigers way back. You never mentioned that,
but not the same, not quite the same.
It still hurts when you get hit. That's why I didn't do that.
Yeah, but as my friends would say, did you die? So no, it's not quite the same. But Yeah, so the sports talk background is a thing of mine, and also I didn't mention the nonprofit foundation that I have towards education and community building. Able to is the name of its acronym, Achieving Beyond Learned Expectations. So we'll get into more of that stuff later, but I just love hearing Andrew's background because anytime you hear that stuff, man, it's fascinating. I mean, anytime that you first of all given up your rights to life to protect the nation, and because that's what you're doing, you're giving over the rights of your life to the nation to protect the rest of the nation. So anytime you do that, I applaud anyone out there that's listening that's made that choice. And the stories and the situations and the life, everything is fascinating. So just another shout out to Andrew and all our troops serving currently and those veterans who served in the past.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, man. And I thank everybody that's been in the service, even though I was in the Marine Corps, and if you weren't in the Marine Corps, I give you a hard time if you were in the Navy, Air Force, or Army, but I still love you and I respect you. And I think we have a caller back on the air. AJ, we'll go ahead, we'll take the caller. You're on the air with Get Warrior Tough. All right, we're giving it another shot. Dutch, there's some crazy weather going on all over the country right now. Did you know that?
Yes, I saw the video of the snow down in upstate South Carolina, and I wanted to say boo-hoo because we're getting a foot up here. I think starting tomorrow afternoon, at least a foot. So for all you people listening in South Carolina, bless you.
Right.
You're probably going to get inches maybe.
We ain't getting it. But my kids are all like, we're going to be out of school tomorrow. I'm like, no, you ain't. They're like, don't you put that evil on us. I said it could be 80 degrees tomorrow, man. Stop it. We don't want to, I don't want snow. That's why, Anyway, so it is fascinating when from the outside. But when you live it, Dutch, when you live with no plumbing and you live where there's no electricity and it's not that fascinating, man. There's just a lot. And people ask me, what's it like being in combat? It's like hours of sheer boredom interrupted by instances of sheer terror. There's no middle ground, so it's all good. But we take all those things that we learned and we incorporate it into this Get Warrior Tough process, this Warrior Tough process that you and I are teaching around the country. And so let's kind of start out with some language. So you said critical thinking. When we say critical thinking, people have a hard time saying what that is when they banter that around. Like, what does that even mean? And of course, we break it down in a very simple, formula. Do you want to shout out what our formula is? No. He said no. Okay, so it's thinking like crap. See, Dutch doesn't use that kind of language but thinking like crap is CRAP. It's clarity, relevance, accuracy, and precision. All right, so this is critical thinking. The first thing is what's your target? I'm thinking like crap. What's your target? What do you want, not what you don't want? What do you want, not what you don't want? See, a lot of people, they tell us what they don't want. Yeah, we got it honest, though, because our moms and dads taught us that look both ways to cross the street. Why? So we don't get hit, right? And so we got it honest, but that's not the target. So what we want to do, the first thing in critical thinking is think clearly what is it that we do want? What's the outcome that we want in any situation? The next thing is relevance. Is it relevant? And we like to use the golf example. Is the sand trap relevant? Well, no, because the target is the hole if you're playing golf, right? If you're playing golf and you're on the tee box and you're looking to see where I want to hit the ball, it's the hole. But if you're looking at the sand trap or you're looking at the water obstacle, don't hit it there. Don't hit it in the water obstacle. All right, so if you're thinking that's where it's going. All right, so hey, Dutch, hopefully we're getting this technology cleaned up. We got to go to a break here real quick. So when we get back, we'll finish up with thinking like crap. Right, and if you want to get in on the conversation, try calling again at 855-856-1380, and we'll see if we can get the technology cleaned up. If not, hit us on Twitter, hashtag #GetWarriorTough. And this is the Get Warrior Tough radio show. We are leadership and mental toughness coaches Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman, and we will be right back.